If I had $1 for every time someone asked me to compare Gutenberg with Elementor, then I could buy a nice lunch. A year ago I wasn't asked this question, or even 6 months ago, but now it keeps coming up. If you've been neck deep in Elementor and haven't been following what is happening with Gutenberg, then you might be surprised by this type of question. Or if you have never used Elementor, then you may be wondering if it has any features not found in Gutenberg. Hi, this is David McCann for Elementor 360, and in this video I'm going to do a comparison between Gutenberg and Elementor to show how they stack up with each other. Some people will be surprised. Let's start with a bit of background. The classic editor was introduced way back in 2005. At that time, many WordPress core developers believed that anything other than just plain text, with maybe a few pictures, was extravagant bloat. Literally, there was no native ability to create columns. If you wanted to add padding or margin, then you had to go into text mode and do it manually. This gave rise to two things. First, a lot of companies popped up offering hosted landing pages because it was difficult to build eye-catching sales pages in WordPress. And secondly, the limitations of the classic editor gave rise to page builders. Divi was released in 2013 and it was revolutionary. Beaver Builder launched the next year. Page builders brought a huge jump in flexibility, such as drag and drop, better what you see is what you get, padding and margin controls, different types of content, different settings by device size, forms, pop-ups, templates, and of course speed. Elementor was released in 2016, back in the days when the classic editor was still the default in WordPress. Automatic, the hosting company for WordPress.com, found that they could not compete with Wix and Squarespace. The classic editor was too out of date and limited. Gutenberg was released just 2 years ago. The launch was rocky and it was probably released too soon. However, Gutenberg kept getting better and the market for third-party add-ons has grown quickly, and they have been adding page builder-like features. Gutenberg add-ons come with advanced container and column blocks, providing page builder-like layouts. And the blocks and free and premium add-on packs provide even more block types than what's found in core. There was a transition this year where to all of a sudden site builders and authors started to realize that Gutenberg had gotten good enough to use. So let's begin the comparison. Let's begin by comparing Gutenberg with Elementor Free. In terms of installation and maintenance, Gutenberg is shipped with WordPress core. That means there is no install process, no extra updates, there's no license keys or account connections necessary, and that's easier. When it comes to performance, Gutenberg outputs cleaner HTML. Here, for example, is a single button on a page created with the Gutenberg editor. If we look at the source code, this is the code necessary to output the button. Now, here's a similar page created with the Elementor editor with just a button. And when you look at that source code, this is the HTML to output that button. So you can see there's quite a bit more markup. In terms of ease of use, I've spoken with a number of agency owners who say that Elementor is easier for their clients to learn. To a certain extent, editor choice is a matter of personal preference. But I think that Gutenberg is a much different paradigm than many people are used to. Also, since its release, it has been in a state of change and the user interface is still being refined. A feature of the Elementor editor that is very consistent is the placement of options and settings. The content, the style settings, and the advanced settings, and they're always in the same place. Elementor Free comes with some global site settings, the ability to set global colors, which are linked in the content and the page. So if you change it here, it will change in the pages where you've used it. And these global settings are available for all pages on the editor for the site. Global fonts, typography, and then you can set styles for buttons and images and form fields. There's also the option to set custom breakpoints for tablet and mobile. So these are some nice global features of the free Elementor editor. Let's compare Gutenberg blocks with Elementor widgets. If we look in Gutenberg, these are the Gutenberg widgets that come default in core. You see there are quite a number of them. I think there's maybe about 35 of them. And then there are a large number of embeds also. So that's a nice number. if we look at some of them, like let's take a look at the heading widget, we see that it has typography settings where you can set a size of the font and you can set a text color and background color. So that's pretty nice. Now let's go check out Elementor. These are the widgets that come with Elementor free. These are pro ones. Here's some more that come with free. And what you see here is it's about the same number, about 35 widgets. And let's try adding a heading. And here we have alignment settings. We have text color, typography, text shadow, a blend mode. We have margin and padding and z-index. We have background settings, and we have border settings. We have positioning settings, and we have the ability to hide on mobile, tablet, or desktop. So you see, even though some of the widgets in Elementor are the same as the blocks in Gutenberg, they tend to have a lot more settings. Let's take a look at columns. Let's add a column block in Gutenberg. Okay, so if we look at the column settings, we can see that there is a text color and a background color, which can be solid or gradient. And you have an option here for vertical alignment of the columns. So that's pretty nice. Now let's take a look at the column settings in Elementor. Here we have column width, the gap, the height, the vertical alignment, the overflow. We have a background of color, gradient, image, video, slideshow. We have background overlay options. We have border options. We have shape divider options. And we have typography options. We have margin and padding and z-index. We have some entrance animations. We have the responsive options to hide by device size or to reverse the column order by device size. Okay, so a ton more options on columns. Now, columns are central to the power of page builders for creating sophisticated layouts. And the difference in column settings is something that I think helps to distinguish Elementor Free from Gutenberg. You can make a much more robust page with Elementor Free because of the more robust column settings. I think that Gutenberg leaves a lot of the spacing and margins and whatnot up to the theme. So Gutenberg has the concept of block patterns. These are block kind of pre-designed blocks or block groups. So that's nice. And that's similar to the block library that comes with Elementor. You can see Elementor has a very extensive block library. Some of the items are available in the core free Elementor and others in Pro, but there are a huge number here. Plus, there are a large number of pre-designed pages, full pages that are pre-designed, which Gutenberg doesn't offer. So I think the built-in Elementor library is much more extensive than the built-in core block patterns. Then if you go back to Gutenberg and you look at a block, there's the option to add it to reusable blocks. You can reuse it, the block or a group of blocks on the page or on other pages on the site. So that's a nice feature for reusability. And Elementor has that as well. For Elementor, you have the template section. So you can create templates that you can reuse and insert in pages throughout the site in Elementor Free. So that's very nice. So that's kind of comparable with the reusable blocks of Gutenberg. Then Elementor Free comes with some tools where you can replace the URL in the database if you've migrated the site. You can roll back the version of Elementor to a previous version, or you can be a beta tester. And you can set your site into maintenance mode to have a maintenance or coming soon page that shows to lock the site down during development. So those are some tools that come with Elementor Free. Let's enable Elementor Pro. Go back to our page. And now let's consider Gutenberg versus Elementor Pro. And with Elementor Pro, we get another level of features that get added on top of the comparison we've already done. First off, Pro adds approximately 58 additional widgets if you consider all the Pro widgets, the WooCommerce widgets, and the theming widgets. For example, here are a bunch of widgets that come with Pro. You have a login widget, a form widget, you have a menu widget, you have things like animated headlines, pricing tables, reviews, table of contents, share buttons, countdown, Facebook widgets, Lottie animations, and so on. So you can see that with Elementor Pro, you get a bunch more widgets. Then with Elementor Pro, you also get a theme builder. So what this is, you can build the header, the footer, you can build the single templates for posts and pages, and if you had custom post types, you could build the templates for those. For archives, for blog, for search results, for 404 pages. So this is full theming, which is very powerful. Then Elementor Pro also adds dynamic tags. Here you can use dynamic data from WordPress, from the posts, from the archives, from the site, media, author, and comments. And if you have advanced custom fields or toolbox or pods installed, then you can use those custom fields also in your Elementor content. And so that's a very powerful thing. WordPress gives you the ability to add custom post types and to add custom fields, but by default, WordPress doesn't provide any way to output them and show them on the front end. So the theme builder and the dynamic tags are ways that you can do that easily with your Elementor Pro page builder. Elementor has a pop-up builder. It has a WooCommerce builder. It has a form builder. There are a large number of integrations for email marketing, fonts, Font Awesome. If we go back in the editor, there are more motion effects available than with free. You have scrolling effects, you have mouse effects, you have entrance animations, large number. So these are all additional features with Elementor Pro. Elementor Pro also comes with a role manager where you can set access by WordPress roles to the editor. So that's another nice feature of Elementor Pro. So now if we compare add-ons for Elementor and Gutenberg, there are a large number of free and pro add-ons available for Elementor. Some of them extend the built-in widgets and others provide unique advanced features that Elementor doesn't have natively. Let's look at just one of the add-ons, Dynamic Content for Elementor. Here we can see it adds a huge number of widgets and features. Cursor tracker, copy-paste cross-site, extension to the Elementor form builder, PDF generator, conditional fields, deeper support for advanced custom fields, copy to clipboard button, a calendar button, a PDF button, add to favorites, 360 images, QR codes, more token and dynamic data features, and then a large number of extensions. Advanced video controls, dynamic visibility options. Let's take a look at those. You can control visibility by user and role, by device and browser, by date and time, by the post type, by the archive, by the context, by events. A huge number of options there for controlling the visibility of sections of your content. So as you can see, Elementor add-ons can be pretty extensive. Now let's go take a look at a Gutenberg add-on. Here, for example, is the Cadence row layout block. Okay, so you see it also has some vertical align options like Elementor did. easy to adjust spacing using the mouse. You can set the options by device size. You can change the stacking order. You can adjust the column gutter. There are padding and margin options. There are background options, okay, by image, color, gradient, video, image overlay options. Option to add dividers to the top or bottom, text color, link, hover color, structure settings for minimum height, maximum width, z-index control, visibility settings by device size. And if you look at all of these options here for the Cadence row layout block and think back to the list of options that there were for Elementor columns, you'll see that this is a pretty comparable. So here we have a Gutenberg add-on that is making it possible to do pretty sophisticated layouts, very similar to the way that Elementor does. Okay, let's keep looking at Cadence here for a minute. Here are the blocks that come with Cadence. You see there's advanced button, advanced heading, icon, tabs, accordion, info box, icon list, testimonial, advanced gallery, form, table of contents, split content, post grid or carousel, modal, product carousel, video pop-up, advanced slider, portfolio grid carousel. And if you look at these blocks that come with the Cadence blocks add-on, you'll notice that there's a lot of overlap with the widgets that come with Elementor Free. And there are also some overlap with some things that come with Pro, like the form or the table of contents or the modal, but these are more limited than what comes with Elementor Pro. Okay, there are not as many integrations and there are not as many trigger events and whatnot. So those are the Cadence blocks. If we look at, for example, the Quibbly Gutenberg block add-on, you see it has a row, button, advanced text, icon, Google Map options, info box, accordion, heading, video player, social icons, advanced list, icon list, timeline, team, table of contents, image comparison. It also has a form builder, pricing, pie progress, countdown, media card, vertical tabs, and so on. Okay, so here's another add-on that, like Cadence, brings a lot of similar features, a lot of similar functionality for layout and design that Elementor has, that's available in Elementor Free. Now, here, for example, is the library of pre-designed sections. Okay, so some of them are Pro and some of them are free. But you see that there are 156 pre-designed sections, quite a few. They're very stylish. Then there are a number of starter packs, 36 starter packs. And what these are multiple pages that are similarly styled that you can use for a site quick start. Like here's a home page, a service page, about us page, gallery, testimonial, and whatnot. Okay, so just as Elementor has its library, so too third-party add-ons are adding similar things to Gutenberg. So that's the comparison. Let's draw some conclusions now. If we compare just Gutenberg with Elementor Free, then we find that Gutenberg doesn't require any extra install or license. It also outputs cleaner HTML. However, many people will find that Elementor Free is easier to use. It has standardized settings that are located consistently across all the widgets. And the settings are much more extensive and provide greater flexibility and control for layout and styling. Consequently, while Gutenberg is a nice step up from the old classic editor, Elementor Free is much more powerful page builder than just Gutenberg. When we compare Gutenberg with Elementor Pro, then we find that Elementor Pro has a large number of advanced features that don't exist in Gutenberg. The theme builder, pop-up builder, form builder, WooCommerce builder, the ability to work with dynamic data, the motion effects, those are some of the biggest ones. If the comparison of the classic editor to Elementor was like comparing a car to a bicycle, then the comparison of Gutenberg to Elementor Pro is like comparing a car to a jet. It's just way more powerful. Now, when we start to consider Gutenberg add-ons, then things get interesting. While they don't have as many options, Gutenberg add-ons provide many of the features of the free version of Elementor. This has progressed now to the point where I think we can start to consider Gutenberg plus a Pro add-on as comparable to Elementor Free, at least in terms of the ability to lay out and style content. This is a pretty significant step for the core WordPress editor. For simple sites, Elementor may no longer be needed. Currently, however, Elementor Pro stands heads and shoulders above Gutenberg, even if you add Gutenberg Pro add-ons. Elementor Pro is a preferred tool for advanced WordPress site building and design by professionals from all around the world. The Gutenberg development team is busy working on new features, such as full site editing, and I imagine over time that will make it possible to do more advanced work using tools found in WordPress core. But remember, Elementor isn't standing still, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. So that's my comparison of Gutenberg with Elementor. There's a text version of this video available on the Elementor 360 website, along with other tutorials, walkthroughs, and resources. Hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching.